Hello and welcome, my friends, to another episode of Bloons Tower Science. Today we've got the Dark Knights on the left here. These are a 203 Super Monkey versus the 502 Archmage on the right. The first thing you should notice is the money. We started off with $100,000 and then we bought the towers. So if you look and you kind of just do a little bit of math right here, you can figure out about what the tower costs. So we're talking about $34,000 for these two Dark Knights and about $39,000 for the Archmage over here. So, pretty close, but about a $5,000 difference. That's something you definitely have to keep in mind throughout this testing phase right here. Another thing is obviously there's two of them. There's two Super Monkeys here. So, if you're going to power them up with an Alchemist or something like that, it really won't matter all that much, but it is something you just have to keep in mind over here, guys, alright? So the reason why I did this test is because, well, both of them are supposed to really be good against Moab-class Bloons, right? The Archmage is like meant to pop Moab-class Bloons, and he also does a decent job against the regular Bloons, and then these Dark Knights are supposed to also be really good against the Moab-class Bloons, and then a little bit worse against the Bloons, but not as bad as we're seeing right now, man. Holy crap. I was honestly not expecting it to be so gosh darn awful over here. So, one other thing that I have to mention really quick is, of course, with these, with this testing phase over here, you're going to notice the lives are also at 100,000 lives. So, by the end of each different test over here, we're going to reset it back up to 100,000, but you should note that every single time we lose a life, you should see kind of, for comparison purposes, how many lives we're losing, and how much of a difference these two different towers are when compared up against each other. So, I can definitely say that the Archmage is much, much better against the Bloons. Even though he's not even designed for the Bloons, he's still able to kill the Bloons. It's mostly because we chop the ceramics right down into these yellow Bloons or these green Bloons over here, and then he can still chop the yellows down into nothing right a frickin' way. So doing that layer damage over there is really what's keeping him being so good, basically. If he had to annihilate ceramic Bloons down into, you know, maybe blacks or something like that, and then knock those blacks down into reds, he'd be much, much worse because we'd be wasting all his pop power on the red Bloons. But that's not the case, luckily, and this Archmage is going to lose only about 500 lives against all these BFBs. But, oh, man, these Dark Knights are getting owned right now. The Bloons are just too much, and even with the pretty nice Moab pop power, we just can't keep up. So, one other question you might be wondering over here is, well, why didn't you just go up to 3rd tier? You know, Super Monkeys over here. You can go, or 4th tier, excuse me. Why don't you get a 204 Super Monkey? Wouldn't that be so much more fair? Well, the Archmage is only going to cost, again, like 39,000 or so, but getting up to a 4th tier is going to be an extra 50 grand, so like more than double the price of the Archmage over here, and I just did not feel like that was fair whatsoever. So I'm going to stay away from that. But interestingly enough, check this out. When we just send out a single Oh My God, if you actually see the Oh My God layer itself, well, we take that down way, way faster with the Super Monkeys, but then the Bloons are obviously a little bit of an issue for us, right? Where the Archmage takes a lot longer to take down the Oh My God, but then the Bloons inside are not a big deal. So, again, after all is said and done, what does this really mean? In most situations, I'd just go with an Archmage. He's just better overall. The only difference is that we do have to save up a bit more money to get him. You know, we got to spend the normal 15,000 or so to get the 4th tier, but then a whopping, you know, 30 grand or so to get that extra, 35 grand or so to get that extra 5th tier upgrade. Where the Dark Knights, you can kind of slowly upgrade them over time. You know, get a quick 2-0 Super Monkey or something like that. Spend an extra 10 grand or so and get that 203. So you can just slowly upgrade him instead of having to spend $35,000 all at once. So now we're coming up with a different, we're going to be using Alchemists this time around. I've been doing this for all of my BT Science videos because, you know what, Alchemists are important. Every single high tier tower that you have should be alchemized over here. So we want to see if this is going to make a big difference for us. And it does. Interestingly enough here, guys, we're getting more damage on these lower tier Bloons with these Dark Knights. And it's a much, much closer battle. You can see that against those BFBs, which is the same amount of BFBs that we sent out the last time around, we actually ended up popping them all. just by adding an alchemist over here. So huge difference. Now we're sending out a whopping 20. So, my gods over here, dude. How the heck are we going to be able to pop all of these guys? Well, I actually don't plan on it. That's the point. We want to see the difference in the amount of lives lost that we actually see at the end over here. And then what we have to do is we have to test out the DDTs after that. See if these guys are going to be somehow magically better against popping DDTs or something like that. I don't know. Of course, with any VT science testing, you have to keep in mind that towers usually go, well, in combinations with each other. Usually towers have a specialty, something that they're good against, you know, whether it's above class Bloons, they're just good at popping DDTs, or good at popping whatever the heck they're good against. So, you know, making them do everything, both the Moab popping power and the Bloon popping power, can definitely affect the way that your testing goes. But this is a very interesting play so far. So far, the ARCHMAGE is actually losing, believe it or not. He's actually struggling over here, so down 3,000 lives already. The Dark Knights over here still no lives lost, believe it or not. Holy crap! But they are better at aiming. And that's one thing you definitely have to keep in mind over here, because they're better at aiming. So far, they've been able to hit the first balloon no matter what, and just take those things down and down and down and down. But now they've got a big chunk of oh my gods coming in here all at once. So this was a bit surprising, to be honest, because now actually the Dark Knights are losing, and now all the Bloons are just throwing right now. They're just throwing right now. They're just going right through, chugging along like a little bit of choo-choo train over here. And in the end, oh man, these Dark Knights get owned again. Holy crap. We're down over 20,000 lives, but the ARCHMAGE still just chills with that 3,000 lives lost right there. Seems almost like it was just like an unlucky Bloon kind of sneaking through kind of thing. Kind of weird. So, again, the ARCHMAGE does come out on top. And not even just $5,000 worth of out on top. No, like, completely and utterly in every situation, he's just been dominating. No Alchemist, using the Alchemist against Moabs, BFBs, so oh my gods, even the Bloons inside, man, every single time the ARCHMAGE is coming out on top. So I would highly recommend, in almost all situations, guys, you probably want to go for the ARCHMAGE Wizard over here. He just is a better tower. Plus, believe it or not, he's actually got more range. Not by an extreme amount, but he does. He has more range over here. So again, the Dark Knights struggle just a little bit, so we want to go a little bit harder with these guys, alright? We can't just send out 20 anymore. We gotta go bigger and better. Now with the spacing of only 1, can these guys still take him down over here? And it's gonna be a close one. Uh-oh. Dark Knights struggle-lugging over here. ARCHMAGE is taking down most of them. The Dark Knights are finally popping them in the very end over here. Who is going to lose more lives, though? And the Dark Knights end up losing over 12,000 lives, and the ARCHMAGE only about 400. So again, the ARCHMAGE, guess where he is, guys? He's all the way up on that cliff up there. He's on top right now. So basically, we just want to do one main last little test over here, right? We want to see how does this compare against a bad balloon. How much damage can we do over here? So, originally I wanted to see how much pop counts we were gonna get on these things, and then I kind of forgot to do it, and I'm like, okay, well, you know what? Let's just reset it here, guys. It's okay. We're gonna reset so we can actually look at the pop count at least reasonably well, and see what the heck's going on and how well we're popping this balloon over here. Sometimes it's a little bit harder to tell when you've got your tower with a weird amount of pops already. So we want to set it back to 0, and we're going to set it another bad balloon. Now I will admit that you probably can't see this perfectly well, but I think you can see it on for the left side over there at least reasonably well, and you can at least guesstimate what the heck's going on over here. Like that's 1,000, you know, 1,400, you know, 2,000 now. So you can see that they're changing quite a bit, and of course if you switch back and forth, you can basically almost double it and see what's going on. With the ARCHMAGE, very interesting. He's up to about 7,000 so far. And of course, they're not both perfectly even, but I did the best that I could, man. Please forgive me. My two iPads run at different speeds, alright? So just don't be angry at me. But in the end, you can kind of see that both of the bad balloons are getting hurt very evenly. Interestingly enough. It seems like the extra Moab pop and power stuff just doesn't really matter, and just as far as brute force goes, they're very even. I would say that the Dark Knights probably do slightly more damage overall. You can see, like, now, oh, there we go, we popped a little bit faster over here. So we do end up popping the DDTs, and then the Oh My Gods inside are going to be a little bit tricky. Uh-oh. So it's going to take about 27,000 pops or so to pop this bad balloon, and the ARCHMAGE just isn't going to be able to keep up. So, even though it was close, you still got to give it to the Dark Knights. This is the first time they finally won a battle, and it's against the bad balloon. Who would have thunk it, man? I definitely wouldn't have. But it was still close enough where I would say in almost every situation you probably just want to go for that ARCHMAGE, guys. He is just that much better against Moabs, against Bloons, and especially against those DDTs, which are extremely pesky for us. So if you enjoyed, press the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and of course have a super duper delicious day.